Well, hello. Welcome. There's 14 of you. We're doing something different. This whole thing is different. This is more of a podcast look. We've never done a Mover Mailbag live. Oh, I've got to do the thing. I'm not going to do the card. I was going to show you the card, but I'm not going to show you the card because apparently I've skipped a whole bunch of steps, and here we are. I don't know. Is this in the way? It is what it is. I've used this mic before, but usually it's out of the way. So this is the first time it's not in the way. And it's also the first time I'm simulcasting on Facebook and YouTube. So there's that. But we're going to do a mover mailbag. We're going to look at the Corvette Z06, and I'm going to answer your questions from the chat because that's always a thing. Here's Mr. Sharkgate saying, come on, let's get some more viewers. So it is what it is. Mailbags are difficult to edit. So this is probably the easier way. The only difference is going to be you're not going to be able to see the emails like usual because I usually blur out their email addresses because people like to send their full contact information, and I can't do that live. So bear with me. We'll make this happen. Welcome. Hope you're having a great Friday. I hope I don't sound grumpy. Last time somebody said I sounded grumpy, so this is not Grumpy Mover. So anyway, let's get right to the emails, and then as we go, if you want to ask a question in the chat, by all means, please do. I got to get rid of this Mondays with Mover Live thing because that's not accurate or whatever. But here we go. So the first question, it's actually not a question. It's from John. It says, hey, Mover, I noticed in one of your DCS World episodes with Gonky while he was flying into the deck on DCS World doing BFM with you, kept saying, oh, man, I can't feel what's going on, which I totally understand. Even with VR these days, doesn't feel right. I'm a software guy. Worked on control systems with these guys. He gives me a link. I'm wondering if that would make it better. We got it working for DCS because the lack of controls and the time didn't quite work. We did get enough control to fly arcade flying out of BS3. We did a lot with the Army, sorry. With modern platforms being easier to fly, how much of the seat of the pants feeling is still important? A lot. So the problem with DCS and the problem in general is when I fly, a lot of what I do with the aircraft is based on what the jet is telling me. So I can feel energy states just based off of, wind noise. Like on an F-18, you can kind of hear it coming off the Lexus, if you're high alpha. You kind of feel that energy state of the aircraft. So especially in BFM, where I'm not looking at the instruments, I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm looking up. I've done this long enough, and Gonky's done this long enough that we instinctively know where to look because we've been doing it long enough. We know, if I go high aspect with somebody, I expect to see him over here or over here or wherever. So you kind of get that feel and that positional awareness in the aircraft of sitting in the cockpit. So when you take that away, it becomes a more instrument maneuver, and BFM is not instrument related. It's more feel. Good examples, T-38. The jet talks to you a lot because it doesn't have fly-by-wire. So, if you high energy state, the wings are, they're not talking very much. But as you start loading up the wing, now you get the rumble, and then you get kind of the tap, 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 and then it goes to the elephants on the wings, and then you get the full wing rock. So there's a little bit of that at play, and just not being able to use your kind of peripheral vision and all your other senses kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. So that's a good question, though. Let's see. Got some stuff from the audience, so we'll just flip back and forth. Crazy Uncle Bob, thanks for the super chat there. Back on the helicopter track yet? I'm not sure what that means, actually. I finished my PPL back in June, and I've done several videos as a private pilot. I am probably going to, I know I said that I was going to go to my ATP, but that requires 200 hours. And I'm actually pretty close to having the PIC time required to go get my commercial, so I may just do that. I may skip straight to that if I can get comfortable with auto rotations in the required distance. So we'll stand by to stand by. Let's see. Another question here. Been making any videos about real-life procedures in DCS? No. Yes. Probably not. So here's the deal with DCS. I've said this a million times, but I'm not going to do tactics. I have a security clearance, and I've had a security clearance. Even if you don't currently have a security clearance, you still, if you've had one, it's too. I'm not going to do anything that talks about weapon systems, how missiles work, stuff like that. I can do some basic BFM stuff, like setups and basic concepts and definitions and a little bit of that stuff, but I can't tell you how to shoot an AMRAAM. I can't tell you how to, how the AIM-9X works. I can't go out and do beyond visual range tactics or, violate OPSEC or stuff like that. So very limited because DCS is so realistic. There's such a high probability of slipping up that I'm very careful in what I will and won't do. And that's just, how it is. I mean, that's not going to change, but basic stuff I can do, and some basic fighter maneuvers in other jets. The problem with BFM is it's typically unclassified, but like some certain maneuvers in the Hornet were classified, and airspeeds and windows and stuff are. So it's a little bit more difficult. You just have to be a little bit more careful. So, yeah. Back to the emails. That's a long email, so to speak. It's from David. I really enjoy your channel. I was touched by your video about your F-18 Finney flight. I'm an Air Force veteran. Although I was enlisted and never flew anything except a bus, I spent most of my short term of service flying around flight crews. I noticed that even pre-9/11, there were not many women in air crews, let alone women pilots. Although it's been just a little over 20 years since I enlisted, I remember reading an article in Airman magazine about a woman pilot. Recently read another about a captain who was a KC-10 pilot. So I know are women pilots, but I wonder, has it increased in today's armed services, or is it still the same? No, it's increased. There are quite a few women fighter pilots, aircrew, etc. I'm just asking because I never paid attention or made much of it. At the time, women serving combat was a touchy issue. In fact, they had just started integrating male and female flights in basic training 2 weeks through BMT, and we saw it, but it was brand new. We didn't experience it in our flight. I was blessed with a daughter. One day she turned to me when she was about 11 to ask, how come there's no women Major League Baseball? There's the NBA, but no baseball. Again, not something that I really thought about. And as I was about to answer her, I knew I didn't have the right words, so I just shrugged my shoulders and said, I don't know. Having a daughter made me think about things like this. One day she asked me about the Air Force. Were women limited in what they could do there like the rest of the world? So I had a conversation with her about a staff sergeant that was a good friend of mine, conversations we would have. Both of my commanding officers were both women. I knew 2 women chief master sergeants, so I didn't really think that women were limited what they were available to achieve. However, she asked me, but what about the pilots? Were there women pilots? So I just probably would know, not many. I mean, what physical reasons would there be, men and women, that there would be so few of them? Know that there are all types of pilots, as yourself. Curious to hear your opinion on this subject, being a fighter pilot, 2 well-known supersonic fighters. Yeah. There's female pilots. Obviously, they're not a lot, but there are, I've flown with a lot in the Tufits and the 301st. I flew with them down at the Makos. I've seen them. I mean, once you're in the squadron level, I think everybody's treated the same. So I don't think there's a huge difference, or there's any, they're just one of the bros, and that's why we say bros could be boys and girls. It's normal now. So let's see. Here's one. Would you consider doing some commentary on the RAAF and Aussie Hornet stuff? I don't know anything about the RAAF, so I mean, I like to talk about what I know. Here's one. That's a good one. Shorty99. What do you think about the Airbus cockpit layout, the side stick, general philosophy? So everybody keeps asking me about what the status of the airline is, and I am on a leave of absence until February of next year. So I'm supposed to go back to the Airbus because I did not enjoy the 737 at all. I think it's a cramped, outdated cockpit, and it's just loud. It's not comfortable. I've jump seated on the Airbus a lot. I think it's a lot more room. I think it's a lot more comfortable. I think it's better quality of life wise. I mean, it's not as much hands-on flying as a 737, but I don't think that matters when you're at that level. I think comfort and having something convenient to me is more important. All right. Let's go to the next one. This is kind of maybe what you tuned in for. MJ says, as a fellow Corvette owner and lover, what's your take on the new C8 Z06? It's no match for your C7 ZR1, but it's an engineering tour de force for the estimated money it will cost. Fortunately, my dealer, who happens to be the #2 Corvette dealership in the United States, is estimating 2 to 4 years to clear his current waiting list for one. At my age, 75, can't wait that long, so I'll just have to remain content with my C2, a 1966 427 390 horsepower coupe that I've owned for 51 years. Yeah, keep up the work in the video. So let's talk about that. That's really what I wanted to talk about today, because I'm a car guy. And what's been disappointing about this channel lately, I mean, the channel started as a car channel, had a lot of car content. I moved everything to a different channel. Now it's all coming back. But I have not figured out this audience yet, and what is successful and what is unsuccessful. I've had good videos that I thought were awesome, like the cruising the coast, the helicopter to go fly a race car, stuff like that. They just don't perform well. I have yet to figure out, and honestly, I'm just going to keep doing whatever I like and hope that people watch it. But, you know, I am a car guy, and, you know, I do like to do car stuff. So I do still have the ZR1. I have not tracked it because as of recently, the values have gone up to like almost or over $200,000 for a car that, you know, was not that much. And I have been worried, not about the money side of it, but if I crash that car, I cannot, on the track, I cannot build another one. So that has been the big dilemma for me as to why I haven't tracked the car, except for the one time. But anyway, let's take a look real quick. I'm going to add this to the stream. Let's see. Let's make it look like that. And then we'll just watch a little bit of this, because I thought it was pretty cool. Let me know if it's too loud. Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, that's probably enough of that. So, that's an awesome car. I'll be honest. So I was not originally a fan of the C8. Just the first time I saw it, I saw one in person. I was not a huge fan of it because, you know, the mid-engine thing to me, yeah, it's great, but, you know, I've always been a fan of the traditional Corvette. And I was not, the wheels have been atrocious and they look terrible. Every C8 wheels, I mean, I'll talk about this in a second on this one, but the first, like the C8 base model, I'm like, why did they not offer? Because I've seen people put aftermarket wheels and it changes the look of the car. But I just wasn't a fan. I just didn't see the big draw to it. But this car is amazing. And let's see if I can, let's see here. Let's go to this thing right here. That? Add to stream. No, that one. Look at this. So, oh, this is yeah. This car fixed everything that I didn't like about the C8. You know, the wider, and it always happens. I was the same way with the C7. I had a ZR1 when the C7 came out. I didn't like it. Then they came out with the wide body, and I loved it. And that's exactly what it is here. I'm a little disappointed as a guy who's owned 7 Corvettes that, you know, I mean, I wasn't included in any of the VIP stuff. You know, it's probably because it's not a car channel, but Chevy, for some reason, is advertising to a very young demographic that can't afford this car. So I'm not real sure where they're going with this, but, you know, they've much smaller channels, much bigger channels, but they're always much younger, you know, in their 20s. I'm 38. You know, I'm not exactly a boomer or anything, but, you know, I can afford the car. So I like it. I will say that the flat plane crank is, I think it's a push for me. That is not a selling point for me at all, because I think, Ford had some issues with their Voodoo engines. They fixed that. I don't think these cars will have that problem because they've done a little bit different in the manufacturing and the design. I like having a manual transmission on the track, although I think with a dual clutch and a higher revving engine, I don't think you'll notice it, to be honest. I think it'll be just fast enough and fun enough to do that. I think the wheels fixed it. These wheels are so much better than any option. Now, granted, these are the carbon fiber. I'm just talking about the design. The 5-spoke design is a Corvette look. I don't know why they had those machine lipped with the thing around it. Looked like somebody had run into a curb and just rubbed off the paint. But these wheels just look better, and it's just a better looking car. Ben says 7 Corvettes overcompensating. Why would I be overcompensating? So I've owned every generation of Corvette. I started with a C4 when I was in high school. I got a C5 in college. I got a C7. Actually, I had 2 C6s, a C6 Grand Sport, a C6 ZR1. I had a C7 Z06, and I've had a C7 01. So that's a stupid comment, and no, I'm not overcompensating for anything. I just like cars, and, because I can. So I think this car is going to be a track machine. I don't think it's going to be faster than the ZR1. I know there's been some talk about the aero packages being close to what a ZR1 can do, but I don't think you can do it with a flat plane 700 or 670 horsepower engine. I don't think you got the torque on the track to make it work. I don't like the engine sound either. I'd rather a throaty V8 than the high revving engine, but I do think it sounds good. Like, I'm just saying, compared to the two, I'd rather the big V8 than the kind of the European exotic sound. But I think it's an awesome car, and I'm not going to get rid of the ZR1, but I may get on the list for one of these because that's just a good looking car, man. That's a fun car, and I think the ZR1 or the Zora, I think this will be the last naturally aspirated internal combustion engine only. I think they're going to start going to hybrids. They're going to put hybrid electric motors up front, all-wheel drive, stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a thing. But beyond this, there has been, to his point about getting one, there's been complaints. God, so this market's crazy. I mean, the C8 base model's going for over $100,000 right now, and the dealers for this car. So I called my dealer. I said, "Look, I'm thinking about getting on the list." They said, "We've already got 30 something people on the list." I'm like, "Okay." So I called another dealer. He's like, "We had people put $5,000 deposits down 3 years ago." I'm like, "How do you put down a $5,000 deposit on a car that does not exist?" So I don't know if it's even possible to get one. To his point, there's chip shortages, there's all that stuff. So what he told me, what my Corvette guy locally told me, is that they can start ordering in June for September. So they don't know how much this thing's going to cost. I would personally, this C7 right here, the Z07 package, not C7, I would personally be surprised to see this thing for less than $120,000. I don't see how, with carbon fiber wheels and the flat plane crank engine, I just don't see how it's less than $130,000 MSRP with the markups that the dealers do. And personally, I won't buy from a dealer that does a markup, period. I mean, you guys have seen, I've had some dealer run-ins before, and I will not pay for a ADM. I think those are ridiculous. So they immediately lose my business. The dealer I talked to, both of them are the first. The one locally said, they'll do it. MSRP is what they've been selling their cars for, and that's what I respect. Unfortunately, there are flippers that have been taking advantage of the rising market. So they'll buy them and then they'll sell them for $120,000 for a base C8. I'm talking, and I actually saw a real sleazy YouTube video where the guy's like, "You want to get on the list, you have to email what your bid." So they're taking bids for this Z06 that pricing doesn't exist yet. And I don't know. It's going to bring out the worst in people. It's going to bring out the worst in dealers. It's going to be a nightmare, but it'll be a fun track weapon. And Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's the Corvette Z06 or Z07, Z06. Um, all right, let's look and see what some of you guys have said. Let's see. Pedals or a stick? It is a pedal or pedals or a stick. It's an automatic. It's a dual clutch transmission. Um, so yeah. Let's see if there's any other Corvette stuff before we move on to the next thing. Let's see. What about an episode where you talk about flight gear, helmet, gloves? I actually have done one of those, but yeah, we can talk about that again. That's no big deal. I still have like an old out of service G suit we can look at. What's your view of EV cars like Tesla? Fast but soulless. I mean, cool gee whiz technology, but I mean, you need the rumble. You need some kind of, you need the throaty V8. Okay, so what is the difference between one? They're just equipment trim. So the 1LT would be like the base model with nothing. 2LT, they like leather, they add like stitching in some places. They give you the Bose 10 speaker sound system, stuff like that. And then 3LT is where you got everything. If I ordered one, I would probably get the hardtop coupe or hardtop convertible. What was HTC? The convertible. Because I like the, let's see, hold on, we'll go back. You guys have to see this. I think the convertible, yeah, the convertible is the best to me. I would order a convertible just because I think it's cool. That's a good, I mean, look how cool that is. Is that the convertible? Yeah, retractable hardtop. Look at that. Well, check that out. Is that not cool? Because there's nothing worse than having to mess with the top and be worried about scratching the top and dropping it and whatever. Even though it's super light, it's carbon fiber. But that is the best looking C8 to me. I think that fixes it. Anyway, back to this. What else we guys saying? What are we going to do when they electrify the Vet? Hold on to the ones that are not electric. Boomers are dying off. That's why. Well, that's great, but the boomers are the ones that can afford it. I mean, are really the Gen Zs able to afford this car? The YouTubers can because they're making 30, 40 grand a month at YouTube for a channel with 1 million subscribers. Yeah, Street Speed, those folks. But can your average, TikTok consumer actually afford this car? Probably not. Maybe I'm wrong. What about the C8? This is a C8. Let's see. I was at the Grand Prix of Detroit when that Chevy VP driving the pace car wiped it out. Yeah, I know. It was funny. I saw the video. It was bad. Yeah, I know the C8 is better, but I agree with you. Classic front engine layout. I don't know that that's true because I remember when the ZR1 was out and, it got the 152 lap time at Virginia. It was beating mid-engine cars. And technically, all Corvettes since like the C3 have been front mid-engine cars because the engine is behind the front axle. So technically it's true. I mean, this is rear mid-engine. I don't know what you're trading. The C7 ZR1 was a very balanced car. It didn't have understeer, didn't have oversteer. It just had a lot of grip. But I do understand that was the max of that platform, and they're trying to move on. And a lot of it is just marketing. It's just, hey, we changed it up. It's a radical change. And I think the supercar market has made the mid-engine or the rear mid-engine much more popular. So, and this looks like, Rainbow Dash says the average consumer can't even afford a 3070, and that's right. That's right. And then here's borderline Gen X millennial, no chance I could afford it. Yeah, I mean even the base Corvette, they said it's $50,000, but when I bought my C5 Z06, it was 50 grand. Like that's the only car I've ever paid MSRP for, and it was 50,000, like even. And the other vets were in the 40s. So anyway, all right, enough on the Corvette stuff. Let's go back to the emails. Eric says, Mover, what are your thoughts about United Airlines issuing a press release stating they are considering no longer hiring Navy pilots because of some recent incidents by former Navy pilots working for United? Below I've included excerpts from the article. That explained this is what led to the press release. I especially love the last paragraph of this article, which contains a quote from a former Marine pilot in response to United Airlines officials complaining about former Navy pilots who were doing pre-flight inspections in direct violation of company policy, which prohibits doing pre-flight inspection. This is bullshit. I'm sorry, can I not say that? This is bullshit. I don't know where this article is. You didn't leave a link. Some of the ridiculous quotes in this. In the midst of airline pilot shortage, United spokeswoman Janine Davidson announced earlier today that the airline is considering not offering a new pilot positions to former Navy and Marine pilots. The plane came down so hard I saw it myself. This is stupid. That's not, no, it's not true. There's 0% chance that United is not going to hire Navy and Marine pilots. That is the dumbest thing. And it has nothing to do with you have to do a pre-flight inspection. Like, you have to. It's FAA required. You have to go do a walk around. That's dumb. You guys need to figure out what satire is. Okay, here's a good one. My name is Landon, and I'm a senior in high school. I've been doing research and looking into ROTC. I obviously want to be a fighter pilot. Just want your opinion on this. A couple years ago, from the 8th to 10th grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't really depressed or anything. I just didn't have interest in anything, and my grades reflected that. Currently, I have a 3.0 GPA to 22 on the ACT, taking classes and studying, trying to get a 26 or higher since ROTC scholarships need that. Ever since my junior year, I figured I wanted to be in the Navy or Air Force and fly anything. If I explained to first the ROTC detachment and Board of Acceptance about my past and how much I've grown as a person, do you think they will look past my previous grades? I'm doing Civil Air Patrol, and I'm also an Eagle Scout, so I hope that's helping well. I want a scholarship. Either way, I'll still going to do ROTC. Basically, I just wanted to be a pilot and fly anything from helos to jets to heavies in the military. Flying while getting paid and serving my country sounds pretty good to me. Just wanted to say thank you for your videos and everything you do. Inspire me and others. Thank you for your time. Yes. I mean, do better. Explain it. Show how you've learned from it. Show you how you've gotten better. But if you don't get a scholarship, work hard. Continue to prepare for the ACT, get a better score. And then once you're in ROTC, if you didn't get the scholarship, then just do the best you can and change the way forward in college by doing well when you're there. So just do the best you can where you are. And, you know, that's really all you can do. 8th to 10th grade, I mean, that's still, you know, you've got 2 more years left that you can, if a couple years left. So you must be he's a senior. Okay, got it. You can't change the past, but you can definitely change the future. And all you can do is make them tell you no. I mean, that's what it all boils down to. You can apply, do your best, and, you know, try to make up for it. But if not, you know, even if you don't do ROTC, there's still OTS, there's still OCS for the Navy and Marines, and there's still the opportunity of doing the Guard Reserve after. So, see, what do the kids at home say? Is there not going to be another fight for honor DCS tournament this year? It's a weird question. There is going to be another one. It's only about to be November, so we're going to announce it soon. It's going to happen probably at the beginning of December. All right, next question. Hi, my name's Jim. Sorry to bother you on your email. I was wondering what sort of camera system you're using on the helicopter videos. There's one used in the cockpit that seemed to do 360. Yep. There's also the skid that gave 360. Yep. I was trying to get which brand. I used the GoPro Max for both of them. And the reason I use it is because it seems so much easier to edit because I can move the camera around. The only issue I have is the stitching. Like you guys have noticed on the videos that sometimes it's a real beautiful video because it's 5.7, 5.6K. But there's this like blur of stitching that ends up on the video. And that's been the only real problem. I think it's because of the vibration, but it may just be the camera itself. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, Doug says, take ACT prep courses and take the ACT more than once. Yep. Adam says, make them tell you no is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. I wish I'd heard that 30 years ago. Thank you. Mover ruins Racing League revival. God, the problem with the Racing League was Like it's such a time commitment. I do want to do some more iRacing stuff, but I don't know if I want to do like a full league where we have to do it every like Sunday or whatever. But maybe we can do that. 737 Max. Actually, I answered that at the beginning. I don't ever acknowledge what airline I fly for, so I will not confirm nor deny your question. But I am on leave. I don't know. I am going. I am. My leave ends in February. That's all I'll say, since I already answered that one. Let's see. Robert says, being in great shape and learning how to contract your abdominals, glute, and leg muscles mitigates much of the risk because they rest their forearms on their leg while moving the stick. Inflation of the GC bladders could cause unintended movement while in formation, which could be. Are we talking about the Blue Angels or something? Because that we don't do that in any. That's not a thing in the Hornet, in tactical flying, or the Viper, because you can't, or the T-38, or the Eagle. They only do that because they're doing fingertip. I never rest my. The only time I ever rest my arm on my leg is flying helicopters. In jets, I don't do that. Peter asks, am I doing a 767 transition? Well, there are no more 767s at my airline, so no. I was 3 days away from going to class, and they canceled. They canceled my class and then got rid of all the thing. Lowell asks, any chance on bringing the TV show to life? It's in work. It's a slow process. I think it's probably going to take a while, a lot longer. There's some other stuff we're working on that I can't talk about, but not in the moment. Have you ever flown a larger Boeing airframe? Nope, just the 737 MAX. It's the biggest airplane I've flown. David asks, what are the chances of a fighter pilot surviving a missile impact prior to ejection? It just depends on where it hits. If it hits somewhere aft, or if it prox fuses, if it detonates outside of, the range, yeah, you can survive and eject. It just, if it hits you in the cockpit, probably not. But if it hits farther back, it just depends. Let's see here. Oh, that's a thanks. Sorry. Would you rather see DCS move into current aircraft, F-22, Eurofighter, Fat Amy, or flesh out the F-4? I don't care. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't. I mean, the problem with the F-22 and Fat Amy is it's so classified that you're not going to ever get any realism out of it. I am excited about the Apache. I will say that. I'm excited about the Apache. I'm excited about the Kiowa. But I would love to try the Eurofighter, which is a thing, and I think it would be cool to try the Strike Eagle. But I mean, whatever. It's a fun game. I would love to see them actually kind of do more ground-based stuff to make it kind of like an Arma 3 or something, where you can, have dudes kicking doors in while you're watching with the targeting pod and like a first-person shooter down there, like a whole war, versus just airplanes. Was it a hard TX from fighters to heavies? No, not particularly. It was a frustrating in some ways, because you're used to doing so much yourself. But I think when you're in the airline mindset, you kind of just pick up the wingman mentality. Two Joker bingo, lead, you're on fire, I'll take the fat one. So you just, the captain is the captain, just like your flight lead. And, it's the same thing as being in a 4-ship and being number 2 or number 4. Let's see, what else? Do you think they should do a Cobra module? That'd be fun. Like I said, I'd rather see a Blackhawk or a Pavehawk. I think that would be cooler, especially if you already got the Apache. But, I mean, yeah. Let's see. What's up with Luna? She is... I don't know where she is. She was just in here a minute ago. But she's doing great. She's awesome. I'm so glad I kept her. I'm so happy that, she's part of our pack. She is a good dog. Have you tried squads? No, I don't know what that is. Nine Gs and a Falcon. What is a Falcon? Like the Falcon X? If you're you're talking about the Viper, because only nerds call it the Falcon. Yeah, 9Gs is right. I pulled 9.8 one time. I don't know how it wasn't at over G. I saw a YouTuber talking about his VMAX run in an F-16 at the service ceiling. Have you done one of those? If so, would you consider doing a comparison with the F-16 and F-18? Was it one of those ones that says real fighter pilot in all caps before it starts? Because those are fun. I have done the fastest I've done on the Viper was Mach 1.86 because I hit the 800 knot speed limit because I did it wrong. I climbed up, I got to 50,000 feet, and I was Mach going up, and then I hit 50,000, and then I tried to descend straight down instead of holding it in a shallow descent, and I hit 800 knot speed limit at 30 whatever 2,000 feet or whatever it was. At 1.86. So I've never, and the Hornet, I might have done 1.5. The Hornet is not as fast as the Viper, top end. It just doesn't have the grunt that the F-16 has. Did you ever fly an older airframe like airframe, red leather, yellow leather? I've never flown. I have only as an airliner flown, or an airline pilot flown the 737. That's it. The oldest airframe I've flown is the one I'm flying now, the T-38A, because we've got some 1960-something models out there. Are you flying right seat on the 737? I was. I'm not. I haven't flown an airline trip since January of 2020. I could have held captain before I left. Like, I could have gone up to New York, but not for me, dude. Not for me. T-Hammer says, hope you're having a good one, bud. Thanks, T-Hammer. Appreciate that. You think there will eventually 0 hour to ATP schools paid for by the airlines to fill? There already are. There are some schools like that, and some, what are they, ab initio or whatever. Oh, how's the progress coming on your generator? Dude, I didn't even record it. It happened so fast. So I kind of bypassed the system a little bit. I ordered one from Norwal Power Systems online, had it shipped to my house, and then found a Generac dealer to come install it. And they installed it within like a week, 2 weeks. And it's running. It's hooked up. It's ready to go. No more problems for me. Why try for NASA? I don't understand that question. All right, here's Jordan. When shooting down an enemy, do people feel guilt if they don't see the shoot deploy, or is there a disconnect when shooting a hunk of metal? So I've never done that. However, we did have Phil Van Patella on the channel. It's a great interview. That guy was an amazing Navy Cross recipient. He was on the channel a couple weeks ago, and honestly, he talked about, he shot down a MiG-17, and he had that sense of relief years later when he found out the guy actually jumped out and survived. So, yeah, I think there is some of that. Barry asks, I am late. Are you buying a new car? Wait, where'd you go? Are you buying the new car? I'm on a list, whether I buy it or not. I mean, I've thought of some wild things. It would be a lot easier to, I think it'd be a lot easier to justify if the channel were better with the car stuff, you know? Because what I'd really love to do, keep the Vet, the ZR1, and then get like a ZL1 1LE for track duty, and then order the Z06, and then when the Z06 comes in, trade in the ZL1 1LE, and then get the Z06. But I don't know that this supports it. Samantha, anything you wish you would have done different in flight school? Did you ever contemplate going the Hilo route in the Air Force? Known or done differently? I had a great time in pilot training. I love the people I flew with. I love the class. I would say that realize that from the time you start in OTS to pilot training and beyond, everybody you meet is pretty much forever. It's a small Air Force. So the friends I've made in pilot training, I still have today. And the enemies I've made in pilot training, somehow I still have today. Like, So it's both sides of the coin. So just be careful who you piss off because it may affect you later in life. You know, you may need a job and they may still hate you. But if you have good friends, you know, then they'll still be there for you years later. So as far as helos go, I've considered it. I've even considered it recently. I think it's a great mission. I love what the Sandies do, not the Sandies, but the Jollies do. Um, I wouldn't hesitate to go do it. I think it's awesome. I think it's a little late for me to do it, but I wouldn't discourage anybody from doing it. Old Douglas, breaking the wingtips on T-38 says high G is a thing. Yes, that's why we're G limited. The wingtip will fold up. That has happened before. Mover, have you had any flight emergencies in your military career you can talk about? Yeah, I've talked about them on this channel. I've had, lightning strikes. I've had recently, my most recent one was a compressor stall in the T-38. There's a bleed system malfunction or something that was causing the engine to compressor stall. I've got a video on here about, hitting a bird and having a compressor stall in the T-38. I've had, what was it? AMAT pressure problems in the F-18. I've had you're going to have a lot. I've been very fortunate for that, to be able to get through them all and have no other issues. But maybe a dedicated video. Adele, how's Kaiser doing? He's great. He's got to go to the vet today. He's getting adequate shots and laser treatments. Will Gonky ever upload again? Yes, and he'll probably get demonetized, I'm guessing. So, Sharkgate, you friends with Hazard Lee? Don't know the guy. Don't know. Can you get a waiver for contact lenses to be a fighter pilot? Yes, there is a contact lens program. There's absolutely. What do you think about the Z06? We just talked about it. Great motor. Interested to see how it works out. Ooh, that's a good one. If you were a pilot in the 60s, would you fly over Vietnam? The F4, 102, 105, F100. F4, I think the F4 is cool. It's a sexy airplane. Although the F-105, we did the interview with Thud pilots, with Pio, man, and God, they did some cool stuff. So it'd be tough, but yeah. Yeah. Do you feel ever trying flying for NASA on space? They wouldn't take me because I don't have a technical degree. I'm not an engineer. I don't have a math degree. I'm not a test pilot. Let's see. Have you ever considered being an aggressor pilot with Draken? Yeah, I would do it part-time. Right now they're only hiring full-time, and I don't have time for that. Flight of the Intruder, yes. Wombat and I are going to do it. I haven't had time to do it. I must be really behind. How many traps do you have? 0. What was your rank before leaving the Air Force? I'll tell you when I leave the Air Force. I need to do like a myths thing. People think I'm retired. No. People think I'm old. No. Well, if 38 is old, then I guess I'm old. But would you mind telling us how you made your enemies? How does anybody? People just, dude, it just happens. Some people you will get along with, and some people won't like you. It's a very competitive business. So, the one I'm thinking about in particular, he's been mad at me, not because of what I did, but because somebody else egged him on about what I did, and it made what I did even worse, even though we really didn't have a beef after pilot training. We used to make fun of each other, but he was a very thin-skinned guy and didn't do well about that. So he wanted to do very well, and I did, and there was a little bit of that animosity because of that. So let's see. It was a Joe Biden whisper. What foreign aircraft fighter would you want to fly if you had the chance? Flanker, Su-30, MiG-29. something Russian. But, you know, Rafale would be cool. Eurofighter. Um, one of Saab's jets. Those are all badass. Do you think it's too late to start a pilot career at 30 years old? What country? In the U.S., no. In Europe, I don't know. It could be. Maybe. Probably not, but possibly. I don't know what their rules are. Here, it's 32 for the Navy and 33 for the Air Force, and they even go beyond that. I don't think it's too late. I think it's tougher. The thing about it is it's a young man's game. So, you know, in my 30s, I have a much lower tolerance for BS than I did when I was in my 20s. My 20s, you know, you could tell me anything. I would, you know, as long as I got to fly jets, I was fine with it. In my 30s, a little bit less tolerance for that. So that's what I would say. Just have to know your own limitations and if it's something you even want to do, because there's a lot you have to put up with that, you know, when you're older, a little different. What scenario would you prefer more? Strong bandits, weak Sam, or weak bandits, strong Sam? Depends. What other assets do I have? What am I flying? Are any fighter airframes made with carbon fiber? Not to my knowledge. All right, here we go. Jeremy the Paratrooper. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. I'll take a look. I'll take a look on Monday. Appreciate it, man. When flying in formation, how precise is the throttle for being able to stay in particular position? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, it's, you know, like the T-38, you can walk the throttles with your hands. You're not going to saw. A lot of guys like to saw when they're new, where they'll just go back, mill, idle, mill, idle. You'll run out of fuel that way. You'll bingo out your formation. But it's small corrections, you know, take a little bit, put a little bit in, take half out kind of thing. You just have to be smooth. Oh, here's one. Would you like to fly Fat Amy? I will never say no to a question like that. I would love to fly anything. Like I'm sure I would fly Fat Amy in a heartbeat. I think it'd be fun. I'd volunteered to go. I was actually one of the initial things probably 2 years ago, last year, whatever it was. They put out a thing and said, hey, you could go to a transition course at Luke. You'll be an instructor pilot in the B course, and you stay there for 2 years. And I was like, I'd do that. I'd love to teach at the B course. I'd have fun with that. I wasn't selected. In fact, nobody was. But I would have. Yeah, absolutely. I make fun of it, but I'd absolutely fly it. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, man. Wait till you get to 47. You start the day pissed off. And that's true. Getting the DCS Apache, absolutely. I'm going to fly it. I'll probably fly it with Casmo or Jolly Pilot, even though he's not an Apache guy. Are you considering the Z06? Yes. Yeah. All my questions answered already. So thanks for the great content. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Have you tried an A29 Super Tucano? No, but I would. You know, it's one of those things. I would. You know, I'd fly it for sure. I'd fly anything. I love flying. But I'm not, I don't want to get one-dimensional, right? Like, that's the thing I think this channel probably needs to transition away from. I don't want to be this one-dimensional, it's just a fighter pilot, it's just reaction videos, it's just breakdowns. Because that's not what's interesting to me. You know, I like the cars and the guns, the dogs, the tactical stuff, the law enforcement stuff. I like to share what I'm interested in. So this channel is mostly about what I like. So, you know, you may get a car video, you may get a dog video, you may get whatever, and we'll just, you know, it is what it is. What's I guess frustrating sometimes is because it, you know, it's 330,000 subscribers, but some of these videos do worse than other channels, and that's just, it is what it is. Are you actively looking for a new reserve guard flying gig? Yes, and that is a hard, so to speak, uphill battle. Has YouTube interfered in new job with the military? In some ways, yes. Yeah, some units don't want to have anything to do with the large social media footprint. But at this point, you know, you have to own it, and I do. I own it, for better or worse. I think we've done a lot of good with the channel. We've raised a lot of money for Folds of Honor, helped a lot of people learn about this profession. I've had a lot of fun, met a lot of good people, interviewed a lot of historical figures. So, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for it. It is what it is. Have you looked into flying for the civilian aggressor squadron F-16s and F-18s? Yes, I actually have. The F-18, I don't know what happened with that, but I have looked at I looked at that. Are you still flying a fighter? Yes and no. So I'm flying a T-38 as an 11F, which is a fighter pilot position, doing fighter pilot things with it. We're Red Air, so we do all the fighter pilot stuff. I'm not a trainer. We do fighter pilot things. Yeah, YouTube algorithmic doesn't like multiple topic channels. I'm not changing. Is what it is. It would be nice, though. I mean, if it'd be nice if people would watch, but. Do you want to fly the... We already answered that. We just... Oh, that's how... Is that how far behind I am? What is... What are your thoughts on the T7? I have none. Don't know anything about it. I just know it's going to be a while. And will you get a chance to fly it? Nope. Do you have an opinion on the Super Hornet? Nope. Tomcats. Another dog video. So go to... maybe I'll put it as a banner. We create banner. Go to this, right there, Lemoyne Dogs, on Instagram. That's where I do all the dog stuff. Short videos, long videos, whatever. It's just easier. Pictures, stuff like that. Any thoughts? You know, we need to do a video on that, on the Jetson one. It's Doug and I were talking about this. Doug was just here. He's probably going to have to leave here in a second. But Doug and I were just talking about this. I think it'd be cool if you lived in the country, like small urban, rural area. But I don't think it's anything beyond that. Let's see. So are you a cop or airline pilot right now? Yes. What's the hourly cost of renting a helicopter? It depends. Between $400 and $600 an hour. Depending on where you are, but yeah, like I said, I'm both. Are there any import cars that interest you? McLaren, maybe. The GT4, the Porsche. Can we have more dog videos? Sure, you can have more dog videos. Thanks, Tim. Let's see. What are your thoughts about the Su-30? Would love to fly one. Do shorts with the doggos. That's a good idea. Do you think the Corvette will ever release the Zora? Depends. I say yes now, but I think it's going to depend on the economy. It depends on who's going to be in office, whether they're, you know, raising the standards and trying to go all electric and all that stuff. Have you ever driven one of those EV trucks like the F-150? No. And I'm not excited at all about electric vehicles. I'd probably buy one, you know, just for commute purposes, but they're soulless. Like, they don't do anything. Like, people are like, oh, well, you know, the Plaid went 9-second quarter mile. So, who cares? Like I fly an F-16. I fly a T-38. You know, okay, those go fast. I like... The whole point of driving a muscle car, a performance car, is the experience, you know, the sound. Like, can you imagine NASCAR? I love NASCAR. I love the rumble. I love the ground shakes. Can you imagine with electric cars? It'd be boring. It'd be like watching RC cars, you know, it'd just be nothing. Would you rather have another vet or your own personal aircraft? Oh, well, around here, there's no hangar space. So having your own personal aircraft, you know, I don't know. I'd rather both. Toddy says I may get the chance to fly the T-50. Are you offering? Is this an official offer from your company there? You guys inviting me out? Because I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't threaten me with a good time. I will do it. Can you get a B1, B2, B52 guy on the channel? Probably. Yeah, I can try that. Let's see. No need for the McLaren now that GM makes one. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. It looks a lot like a McLaren. What is it? The 570, not the 600, but the one below that. I think it does look a lot like a McLaren, and I love it. I think it's great. What I like what you guys don't know me. Yes, 100%. Somebody gives me the opportunity to fly something, the answer is yes. Straight up. Yes. Always yes. It's always going to be yes. Can you interview Russian pilots? No. So, I'll fly anything, but I won't interview anybody. That's a security clearance thing. I just can't do the foreign contact thing. I'm sorry. No. Quit being so ambitious. Air to ground or air to air? It depends. I love CAS. Close air support, to me, there's no greater mission other than CSAR. Air to air is fun, but it's kind of just a gee whiz fun. You know, it's one of those, yeah, you know, we won, but that's not what wins the wars. It's, you know, putting more heads on foreheads. In flight training, well, I was a guard reserve guy, so I already knew I was going to the Viper the whole time. EVs are faster than most cars. If you don't race for speed, what do you track for? I would like to see an EV do 3 20-minute sessions on a road course and consistently lap faster. Even the Plaid's not faster than a ZR1 on the road course, so maybe when that day shows up, sure, but I do it for funsies. So part of the funsies for me is experience. This is a really good point. They're not so green if people knew the damage it does. Lithium ion. Yeah. Same thing with the turbines. Would you fly with Elon Musk to space? Yes. I was stationed at England Air Force Base. Both my kids were born there as well. Yep, I was out there. Really appreciate your service. Thanks for the brotherhood. Here's a couple bucks. Oh, thanks, Lightning. Appreciate that, man. Any possibilities you go on the instructor pilot route? Probably not. I mean, there's always possibility, but it's unlikely. I have never worked with the Israelis. Fat Amy or the Raptor? What are we doing? I personally, I'd love to fly the Raptor, but yeah, we just talked about this. Can't do it. Not going to do any foreign country. Sorry. What's your that's a good question. So I was thinking about this the other day. My favorite types of videos are the ones where to edit, record, and do, or the ones where I go do something. So like the racetrack video, the cruising the coast, anything that's action oriented, that's an experience, it's an adventure, is what I enjoy. I don't. Probably my least favorite are mover mailbags and interviews. I love doing the interviews. I don't like editing the interviews. Mover mailbags are just tougher to edit because you got all the blurring and, you know, chapters and all that stuff. But, yeah. Yeah, Doug says EVs are heavy, bad for track use, eats consumables. Yeah, and they also don't. I mean, they'll last. You're not going to run 3 20-minute sessions with a Tesla. How tall am I? 6'1". Might be 6 feet because of, you know, hunched down. But the Navy officially measured me at 6'1" when I crossed over. First car was a Ford F-150. So it was actually a truck. My first car was a 94 Corvette. More doggies. Yes, we'll do that. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Let's see. Mild hybrid or full electric? I don't know what that means. We want a Chuck Norris Delta Force review on flight scenes. All right. I need to get back into the Mover Ruins movies. I don't think racetracks even have charging stations. Buy yourself a decommission. I don't have that kind of money. Do you miss flying with the Navy? Yes. Yeah, I liked VFA 204. I like flying the Hornet. That was a good. If I could have stayed and just kept doing this, like VFA 204 would have been a perfect place for me right now. It just would have worked out a lot better, but you know, it is what it is. What was my rank? Like I said, there is no was. I'm still a major. I'm not out. When are you going to fly a paramotor? Well, I don't know anybody with a paramotor, so. Favorite jet to fly? That's a tough one, man. I love the Viper. I love the Hornet. A Skyhawk would be like 1 point something million. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an hour. I actually didn't even intend for it to be that long. I just wanted to do it. So what do you guys think? Tell me right meow or in the comments. Would you rather a live format like this, podcast style of Mover Mailbag, or you want to go back to the recorded where I have to sit there and edit it? I was thinking about actually making like a regular show like this where we get guests, we talk about stuff in the news, all that stuff. Because I've got the software, I've got the setup now. I don't know. I do enjoy answering the questions as well. Probably a Friday. Mix it up. Yeah, this will get posted, baby. By the way, this will upload as a regular video later, so it'll be both. And I can clip it. You know, I can clip it and take what's important and stuff. Ashley, let's see if you guys are still asking questions, and you know I'm going to keep answering. Yes, we do air crash reviews in training. We do them regularly. The SIB reports, we get those monthly, I think. Anyway, appreciate everybody. Maybe do an FAQ. Yeah. The FAQ thing is fun because I've got to figure out what the frequently asked questions are. Like I said, the biggest ones are people think I'm retired. People want to know about the airlines. People think that, you know, I don't know. What have we not answered? Do live with notice. Yeah, I actually just decided this morning to do this. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like editing. Let's just see how it goes. When do I board for Lieutenant Colonel? I have to do ACSC first. I think I've technically already boarded, so you know how it is. Can you become an astronaut? No, not unless it's private, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or something. I can't. NASA won't take me because I don't have the appropriate test pilot or degree. I had emailed you about American Dunes. Actually, that was on, what, last Mover Mailbag or the one before that? We talked about it. Yeah, it'd be awesome. I don't play golf. I don't know how to play golf. I've played golf twice in my life. So it's one of those things where I don't know what I'm doing, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. But, yeah, is what it is. Would you by choice jump out of a perfectly good aircraft? Yes, I jumped with the Golden Knights one time. Not me, man. I've got a business degree. Business law at that. I got, what is it, a Bachelor of Science in Management with a major in business law and a minor in marketing. That's what I did. I went to the A.B. Freeman School of Business at Tulane. You want to see me play golf? I'll drive the golf cart. Am I still looking to fly? Yes. And do I want to go back to the F-16? Yes. I'd actually looked at, oh, there was an aggressor squadron at Nellis, but they're not funded for like a couple years, so I don't think my timing's going to work out. But I'd love to go fly the A-10. I'd love to go fly anything, pointy nose. But whether that happens or not, we'll see. What was this one? Is there a Mrs. Mover? No, there's no Mrs. Mover. How do you do your steak? Medium. That's a good question. I like that one. EV golf cart. Have you ever flown missions where you combine arms with Army artillery howitzers, providing indirect fires while you provide CAS? Notionally, not actually. So we've had like the gun to target line and had to work around that, but I've never actually had them shooting while I'm overhead. It's a good question though. How's the helicopter training going? Well, it's been done since June. So, but as I mentioned earlier, I may continue with my commercial here probably next month. Have you ever flown out of Oceania? Yes, that's where I did my F-18 transition course. Favorite sport? Man, I love football. I don't like the politics in football. I love NASCAR. Sometimes it's boring. So, I've flown L-39s. There's that Marcus. I don't want to fly L-39s in Hawaii, though. What do you like about the A-10? Well, I like the mission. I think close air support, CSAR, everything the A-10 does, I think they're good missions. I like the software. You know, the A-10C now, the pig eye or the HEMT, and the targeting pod, shooting the gun, the laser rockets. I think everything about that aircraft. The only thing I don't like is it's underpowered. Doesn't have big enough motors, but everything else was awesome. Formula it's just boring. Formula is, it's like it looks like qualifying after a while because they're not racing each other. And when they do race, like I watched one race, I forgot who it was, but I watched one race and the dude passed, but he went in the grass. So he was winning, but they penalized him like 2 seconds. So even though he crossed the finish line first, he actually lost because the other asshole was within 2 seconds. And I was like, this is lame. They should run into each other. Let's see here. Risk of depressurization without a pressure suit is too high. That's why Elon Musk. I don't know about that. Have I ever been to Talladega? Talladega was the first. Oops. Well, we'll do that one next. Talladega was the first NASCAR race I ever went to back in the Bill Elliott days, like 93, 92. It was when he drove from McDonald's, and it was when Batman came out because he had the Batman Forever thing. Red Bull Air Race sounds awesome. I have done aerobatics. It's not a huge interest to me, but it is cool. Let's see here. Hot dogs or hamburgers? Hamburgers. This guy right here. Favorite author, right there. Got to learn about Rattler. He's got an audiobook, too. Go check it out. Should we build a modern version of the A-10? I think we should just upgrade the A-10. Give it new engines, give it new wings, and just keep on trucking. Or just keep building it. Resume building the A-10. Best kept secret in the military. The Guard is the best, by far. Just a great deal. I recommend it for anybody. 01, dude. Who wants a Mustang? Come on, dude. 5,000-pound Mustang versus a 01. Yes. I think Houston should have a Guard squadron, and I think they should hire me. What was the most difficult part? The fact that I did a cat other. So I showed up to the squadron not really knowing how to work the radar or do anything tactical. That was the hardest part. No such thing. I'll face anybody, anytime, anywhere with any aircraft. I read one. I read the very first one, and it kind of turned me off when he took out a whole room full of people with a shotgun. It was not very well researched. Eurofighter. That's what I would say. Ever fighter you wouldn't want to fly? Just once? I'd fly anything once. No, I'm not an LSO. Fastest land speed? I don't know. I've only done like 160, 150 something on the track with the 01 because I don't. Now that I'm older in law enforcement, I don't do the stupid stuff on public highways anymore. Before that, I think I was like at 180. But no, that's not. No, I don't know that would be all that useful. Like that doesn't interest me, so I can't imagine it would interest anybody else. Oh, you know what? I tell you one I probably wouldn't want to fly is the F-104. I probably wouldn't fly one of those. This guy. I was offered $130K for my 21 C8. Crazy money. I'm on my dealer's Z06 list. My dealer does not sell over MSRP. Yeah, 120 to 125. Yeah. Write yourself a post-dated ticket. I actually didn't say whether it was on the street or the track, so booyah. Yeah, the F-104 is a scary, scary thing. What do I do in law enforcement? I've done a video on this. I'm a reserve deputy. So criminal patrol, details, stuff like that. I can't believe we're still going. You guys are still here. I could be an honorary LSO. More power. You're too loose, Cougar. All right. You guys. Oh, damn it. More. Oh, no, not that one. I would pick a helicopter over a Cessna. That's just me. What do you think of the F-15C? Would you fly it? Yes. Was it good for dogfighting? I mean, I was better in the Hornet and the Viper than the F-15, but I would fly it. Yeah, I'd fly anything. 82nd IRF Brigade responds to world crisis within 18 to 72 hours. Problem is that we don't have an immediate assigned transport squadron for activation. Well, that sucks. Not interesting to me. That YouTuber that has the misfortune of working for that dealership is taking bids is between a rock and a hard place. Seems like a nice guy, but his dealer's putting the screws to him. Yeah, I would not deal with a dealer that does that. That is shady. That is stupid. Yeah. UFOs? No. Never seen a UFO. Mustang or a Challenger? Mustang. Which comment are you taking back there, Wombat? T.R. Matson, best-selling author. Thanks, Arturo. Appreciate it, T-Hammer. Would you fly SOP with Camel? Yeah. Ooh, Toddy wants to know if I'm going to do Krav Maga again. There's no real place around here. I haven't done Krav Maga in 8 years? 9 years? It's been a while. I've thought about getting into jiu-jitsu, though. I'm going to do a lot of stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to do it on the channel, but I've got a lot of, like, tactical stuff I'm going to start doing soon. So maybe I'll be able to share that with you guys, like some SWAT-style stuff and some other stuff as well. So there might be some other stuff. Don't take back my LSO comment. That was perfectly valid. It was perfectly cool. That is from Top Gun, dude. P-38 Lightning, of course. What is the mission? Am I flying the F-16? If I'm doing air to ground, I would probably like the conformals. If I'm just BFM, I want as clean as possible. How do we keep up with China and Russia? Yeah, due to my stance on neutrality, I can't answer that question. But yeah, we got a long way to go. No, I have not taken the Hellcat to the track. I need to though. We're talking about doing that in like a week or two. Take it to the drag strip, see what she'll do. It won't be very good at the road course, but drag strip will be cool. Can you us a cool little bird flight? Sure. I don't know what your question is, but yeah. Are you angling a job with the sheriff? So let me answer that question. It is not possible for me. My agency, which is in Louisiana, got rid of the helicopter. So there's nothing to fly. The agency that I've done all these videos with would love to have me, but the HR cannot hire me, even as a reserve. It doesn't get paid because I don't have Mississippi residency or a driver's license in Mississippi. So I fly with them part-time sometimes, to help them with training, help them get PR. It's kind of what we've been doing, but I cannot officially join and fly. So there is no, in either place, unless I move somewhere else, way for me to fly like as an official sheriff's office helicopter pilot. I've done a whole video on this. It is not the future of aerial combat. I don't think it is. I think it'll be decades before that's a thing. If possible, you'd like to take carrier takeoff and landing on one of the Hornet or Super Hornet or F-35C. Sure. Sure. When is my next flight? A couple weeks? No, well, I guess my next flight would be doing auto rotation training in the R-44 in a week? 2 weeks? I don't know. I lose track of time. Favorite sidearm? I really love my, I love the Glock. It's a dependable weapon. But, it just depends. When's my next track day? Well, I was going to do one on November 19th, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Oh. Renal wants to see it. Hold on. I'll show it to you. Here you go. Right there. Bam. There it is. Look at that. You like it? What is the longest you've gone without flying since you got your wings? 7 months. When I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, I was grounded for 7 months, and that was the longest time I'd gone without flying, and that sucked. I was not a fan. Oh, you guys are new? Well, you guys just showing up? Well, we'll look at it again. I like looking at it, so to speak. Look at that. I think it looks good only in the like that one, right there. Not yellow, because that's the god-awful color. I don't know what's going on with that yellow, but I would probably get my Elkhart Lake Blue metallic. But look at that, man. That's a good-looking car. They have not listed a price. We don't know. We don't know. I think I will get a C8. If I can get one. I mean, we can get an allocation. Oh, wait, what? Let's do that. Hold on. There it is. That. All right. Check this out. How would we customize this thing? Well, first of all, convertible. Blue. Yep. Yep. Performance. Okay. Yep. What color wheels? Ooh, okay. All right. Yep. There you go. Bam. Look at that. Make it happen. Hold on, we got to fix the interior. Interior's ugly. There we go. Yep. Vehicle summary. Uh-oh. How cool is that? All right. Order it. Somebody order one for me right now. Make it happen. Let's do it. It'll be my track car. Mm-hmm. Like, they fixed every complaint I had with this version. Yes, I'm going to do more books. Anyway. I do love Camaros. Like I said, I love the Z01 1LE. Anyway, that's enough. Now we're at an hour and 20. Thank you for watching. Gonky's still alive. Wombat. His Gonky's being Gonky. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to do more, let me know in the comments. Send me stuff. Oh, if you want to send me stuff, let me see if I can do this. Create a new banner. Mover mailbag at cwlemoyne.com. So if you want to be on the mover mailbag at cwlemoyne.com. And then if you want to mail me stuff, you know what? I'm not going to do the P.O. Box because we're about to switch to the UPS store for P.O. Boxes. And so it's going to change. So for right now, just email me stuff. Movermailbag at cwlemoyne.com. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Wombat. You're the best. And we'll see you next time, probably.